Welcome back to the channel. We're playing 20 questions with.
Jeffrey at the Desert Inkwell on Instagram and YouTube.
All right, let's get into the questions. When I
Sounds
say
good.
when I say fountain pen, what pen do you think of?
Mont Blanc 149.
How did you get into pens?
My dad is an attorney, and he started buying fountain pens in this is going to date me, but in the late 80s, early 90s. And I just thought they were the coolest. They just seemed so elegant and refined, and they just stuck in my head. And then years later, here I am.
All right. What was the first pen you remember buying?
A, la- a Lamy Safari, I think with an extra fine nib, and it did not go well.
All right. What's your current daily driver?
Um, a Lamy 2000 or a Sailor Pro Gear with a medium fine nib. It depends on the mood or on how fine I need the line.
Okay. What's your favorite ink?
Ooh, um, probably Birmingham Pen Co. Petrified Wood. It's the most amazing green into yellow. The shading is fantastic, and it never fails me, no matter the pen I put it in.
What's your favorite brand of either pens or ink?
Pens right now, and maybe ink. I'm gonna say Sailor. I'm on a big Sailor kick at the moment. So
There is something lovely about Sailor.
yeah, they're just so reliable. I don't know. There's something magic, and for years I didn't buy one. I was
Yeah,
missing out.
I've only just gotten a Sailor pen. I've had Sailor inks for a while, but I've only just acquired a Sailor pen. Vintage or modern?
Modern.
You swatch all your inks?
I do in a couple places. In a traveler's passport notebook, thanks to Lexi, and I have a card catalog with the Waringle puppy swatch cards in them, um, and then in the Tomoe River paper traveler's lightweight paper notebook as well, just for good measure.
It's always fun to see everything on all the surfaces.
Yeah.
Uh, do you have any pens that you daily drive the same ink and pen combination, or do you always switch it up?
Consistently, my Lamy 2000 has Mont Blanc Permanent Black in it, and I just sort of committed that ink will always be in that pen. So,
Good to have a waterproof black pen.
yeah, that was my goal when I bought the Lamy 2000 because I didn't think I was gonna like it, and I loved it. It's fantastic.
How do you like the Mont Blanc permanent black?
um, I like it, but when I bought it, I swatched it, and it swatched oddly. Very, I almost want to say it stuttered on the paper. You know, when you watercolor paint and
Yeah.
it dries and you get banding. It
Hmm.
did that in the swatch, and I never used it. I went to buy some platinum black ink, and it didn't work out. And I thought, oh, I have permanent black. I put it in the pen, and it's fantastic. It doesn't. I can leave the pen uncapped for a while. It doesn't dry out. I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, no, I have found that permanent inks sometimes do get a bit streaky when you try and swatch them, but
Yeah.
same with the Sailor ink, like in a pen, it's fine.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you keep your nib writing samples in a way you can flip through them, or do you just know the nib in every pen?
Um. I limit myself to nib sizes. So no broads, no double broads, no obliques, and the rest of them, I know how they write. Um, and then if it's different, I'm surprised, and that's a new adventure, which has happened. I bought an extra fine flex 14 karat gold nib, so I could just rotate it through various pens that use a YOLO number 6.
Okay.
And it was so flexible that I was needing a crisp line, and I was shocked. Yeah.
What's a pen you wish you could see in person?
Um, Mont Blanc has a Queen Victoria and Prince Albert set of pens, and in different tiers. I actually have seen them in person, but I haven't used them. And I would love to just hold them in my hand. I think they're beautiful creations. Yeah, that would be the two.
What's your current grail?
um, you're going to notice a theme. Mont Blanc makes a Queen Elizabeth pen, and I have three loves, and it's the royal family. I mean, outside of family, but
Yeah.
the royal family, dogs, and fountain pens. So, yeah, probably the Queen Elizabeth Mont Blanc.
What's a pen you'd recommend to a beginner?
A Sailor Pro Gear with a medium fine nib.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. I spent a reasonable amount of money buying other pens, constantly in that search for like one that just performed really well.
Yeah.
And so I would say, on the secondhand market, or if you find a good deal, a Pro Gear with a medium fine nib is fantastic to start because the size isn't too big, the nib is well made, so it's going to be a reliable experience. But don't get me wrong, I have my fair share of Twisby Ecos as well.
What ink would you recommend to a beginner?
Something fun. So something with sheen or shimmer or great shading. I mean that's what brought me back into it was the ability to use whatever color ink. Um, Even more so than the pen. The pen for me is a vehicle to get ink onto paper. It's the color, how the ink behaves is what I love. So I mean I love pens too, don't get me wrong. But yeah.
We wouldn't have massive ink collections if we didn't love the ink as well, honestly.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Atlas sells like 1,400 different inks, something crazy
Oh
like
good, then
that.
I don't have too many.
Yeah, like there's a reason we all collect ink.
Yes. I have I do watercolor painting as well, and I have multiple different shades of all, Pace Gray or Opera Pink, because they're different. No matter, yeah, I see
Each
them.
each of these trays holds 130 pans.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, do you fill them yourself, or do you
Uh,
buy pans?
so lots of them are from the handmade watercolor shop I work with,
Oh, okay.
um, which helps to make it look less bad when you realize that they're a tester or like single pigments for when we're creating new collections. But yeah, each tray is 130 pans, or it fits 130 half pans. There's some
That
full pans in there from other brands, but it fits 130 half pans.
that is some life goals right there behind you.
Pretty fun.
Yeah.
What advice do you have for somebody wanting to try out fountain pens who might be a bit intimidated by them?
Um, they're less complicated than you think they're going to be, but I think my best advice is write gently. It's not a ballpoint pen. Um, Reference the previous Lamy Safari with the extra fine nib. Is just experiment and write gently.
What filling mechanism do you think is most interesting, regardless of if you actually like to use it or not?
Um, at the DC Pen Show, I saw a pen with a bulk filling
Okay.
mechanism, and I just thought, oh, that's very cool. Like, I don't own one, I've never used it, um, but I was transfixed but had spent all my budget at that point on a Sailor King of pens.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
What's your preferred nib size?
Can I choose two?
Go for it.
Okay.
Honestly, go for it.
An extra fine nib or a. Oh, darn, that's three. Okay, I'll just string them together and pretend it's one. An extra fine, a medium, non-smooth cursive italic, or Kirk Spears scythe nib.
Okay. I
Yeah.
like that there's some custom stuff thrown in.
Yes. Yeah.
Is there a style of nib you love or find interesting but would never actually use?
Um. No. The oblique, I guess I just can't make it. Oh, a flex nib. I'm left-handed and I'm an overwriter, and I like my flex then is on the wrong side of the letter. So my brain is like, no, that goes on the other side, but that's where my downstroke is, and so it's not worth the effort. Those Magna Cartas are beautiful, but I will never use it.
Yeah, no, mom's a lefty, and somehow she's trained herself to write with one of my Leonardo Flex pens, but I'm not sure how she's managed it.
Oh my god, have her send instructions, please, because my flex is like on the upstroke because that's where I'm dragging the pen, and it just
I'll
yeah.
see what I can do. Do you always use the same paper? If so, what paper? If not, what's your favorite paper?
I am, as I recall, in a similar boat as you and Kari Bullet Journal. I am a, and I'll show, this thing is chonking huge. That's my travelers. Yes. So I have the Midori paper inserts
Yep.
and the lightweight paper, which I will say is akin, if not actually, to my river paper. But for my planning, I like the Midori paper because it sucks the ink up faster than the Tomoe River paper. But
All right. What
yeah,
is your least favorite ink or ink color family?
my least favorite ink, only because I spilled it. I got it everywhere. It ruined a better part of my spring. Was Organics, Organic Studios Nitrogen. I got that everywhere. Like the bottle was open on the desk. The dog ran by. I went to get it from the desk, kicked the desk. The bottle flew. This room was not always green. I had to repaint. I mean, if a mess is going to be made, I will make it. And it was spectacular. It did, for anyone wondering, when it landed on the wall and dried on latex semi-gloss paint, it did sheen. So yes, so that ink and almost all sheening inks have been banned from the premises. Like they're innocent. It was me. But just, you know, it was bad. It was bad. I was a sad camper.
So we're filming this at the beginning of September, so you won't have seen the episode yet. So I'm going to tell you this. You're the second person this season that's admitted to having to repaint a room because of an ink spill. There have
Oh,
been two in season 2.
I'm
Except
so
as soon as you
relieved.
started the story, I went, oh, it's going to be Bay State Blue again.
Oh no, never.
And
Um,
he had tipped over. I think it was just a sample of Bay State Blue, and it
oh,
had to repaint the entire room.
oh gosh. I okay. If there's any ink, I would rather that I would. I'm glad I didn't spill. It's that one.
Yeah.
That has I lost a Twisby Eco to that ink. So
I've never tried it, and all I hear are
don't
horror
no.
stories.
It's a beautiful color, but for a that ink is not coming out of
No,
anything it touches. So why
I,
is it
I,
always that ink?
I don't know. But I also love that there are now two of you this season that have had to repaint rooms.
Oh, what a disaster that was.
Well,
Absolute disaster.
thanks for playing 20 questions.
My pleasure. It's been a blast.
It has.